Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to do a video regarding something slightly controversial in the cycling world, I guess. And that's using power tools to repair bicycles with. So let's have a look what we use. So the first tool, I've only just really started using them for the sort of past 6 months, which has been a real game changer, to be fair, is the air impact wrench. This is a small unit for Hazet, fantastic manufacturer, German manufacturer, really, really nice quality. So what we're using this for, so what I use this for is crank bolt removal, 8mm crank bolts, and bottom brackets themselves. So it makes real incredibly light work of both of those jobs, even with really, really stubborn bottom brackets. To be fair, I've not found one that is not just smashed out straight away. This even on its lowest setting, so it does have 3 settings here, and it's currently set to number 1, and even on that it's just absolutely no issues for anything. So let's show you. First of all, we can make some really nice noises with it. So first we're going to take off this 8mm crank bolt. Normally these are pretty tight, but that's off. And on the other side, off as well. Unfortunately, they don't make powered versions of crank removers. So let's just whip this crank out the old-fashioned way. Just screw this one in all the way first of all. Make sure the threads are nice and clean first on both the crank and the tool. I already inspected these. That's it, as tight as that needs to go. Then just whiz this around. That's the crank off. Repeat on the other side. So that's off. We're doing a SRAM power spline bottom bracket today. This is a Truitive's sort of version of it, so it's power spline. It's got the spline fitting on the end. I don't see many of these. They're quite an old design now, but there are still a few around. But the actual cup is the same as the Shimano fitting, basically, so it's the same tool. So I've used this one for many years now, to be fair. Ice Tools version. Been very good. Make sure you got something with a 1/2-inch drive on the end of it for your impact gun. So going back to the air tool itself, you can obviously use battery powered impact tools. I'm just lucky enough to have a decent sized compressor, so the air tool's kicking around, so I may as well use this. So let's just whip this bottom bracket out. Obviously we know on the right hand drive cup it's a left hand thread, so it's going to unscrew clockwise. So just make sure your gun is set correctly. Locate it in there. It's a good fit, this one. We're out. That's done. Just repeat on the other side. I don't have good access here because of the camera, but there we go. So this bottom bracket shell is actually really clean, to be fair. We'll just add some fresh grease into there, but there's no dirt or corrosion in there. Doesn't need facing, but I do have facing tools if that's ever required. That's the shell freshly greased up, so we're just going to fit the new unit now. Obviously make sure you start the threads by hand. You wouldn't go straight in there with a power tool and whiz it in. That's nice and straight there. What we're going to do is going to tighten it up, and we're going to finish with a torque wrench. So that's done. Same on the other side. So if you're using a torque wrench on the bottom bracket, make sure you have one that does capable of torquing with a left hand thread like this one does. So I'm going to go to about 35 Newton meters. Okay, and again repeat other side. We're just going to reinstall the crank now on the new bottom bracket. Bit of grease on the splines, a little bit in there. Again, we're just going to start these by hand. Tighten it up. Obviously hold the crank, otherwise it's going to spin around. And we'll torque that up later. So 40 Newton meters. Yeah, I wouldn't do this on a carbon fibre frame, obviously that's all done by hand. So another area you might use it for, I don't tend to use it, but it can be done for sure, is a cassette removal tool. So rather than you having to use a chain whip, what you're doing is relying on the speed of this and the impact literally to come straight off. So let's just go, and that's off. So another area I use power tools a lot is in rotor removal. So what I would usually do, obviously use an Allen key just to loosen these off first. They're only sort of 5-6 Newton meters. They're never very tight, so these were quite loose though. And then I would use a Milwaukee driver. I bought this tool specifically for this job, to be fair. Just use an extended Torx bit on there, so T25. So all we're going to do is whip these bolts out with this. The disc off. Okay, so wheels clean, this back on, a bit of Loctite on there. So now we're just going to use the driver just to basically nip these in. We're not torquing them with this, you'll hear it slip. And that's the clutch just slipping there. That's in, and we're just going to go around with the final torque. Just use the part tool, 6 Newton meters on this. Click. There we go. So it does save quite a lot of time on this job. Be careful with it, obviously. Don't use something that doesn't have a clutch. You can set this to whatever torque you want, really, basically. So I did check all this with the torque wrench when I was setting it up to get it right. And yeah, very time saving. The new cassette on. I'm not using the any power tools for this. It takes seconds to do it anyway. Just whip this up. 40 Newton meters. There we go. So the only other kind of power tool I would use is the part tool INF inflator. Massive time saver again. I've used this countless times. I used to use a trap pump, don't get me wrong, but after a couple of years of pumping up tyres by hand, you soon get sore shoulders. Just push it on. There you go. Around about 35 psi on that. So I do have one of the Toe Peak Joe Blow booster pumps. Charge this up to 160 psi, and then basically you just turn this to release all the air into the tyre for tubeless setup. It does the job, but it's pretty hard work to pump that to 160 psi. With the INF, I can do a tubeless tyre in literally straight on in a couple of seconds. All the air you need in the world, to be fair. Just take the valve core out first, get the tyre beaded, take this off, put a valve in, job done. So the only other tool you would class as powered really is a powered workless stand, which is obviously workshop use only, but just makes life so much easier with an e-bike. Honestly, the weight of these things, putting them up onto a proper work stand every day, it's just impossible pretty much. It's going to kill you. So massive investment again for the workshop, but game changer, really is game changer. So yeah, just a quick overview really there of the power tools that we could use in a bike shop. It's not for everybody, but it is very time saving and makes life a lot easier, especially any repetitive tasks that you're doing day in, day out, such as pumping tyres up, obviously, lifting bikes onto the stands, and again, brake discs and bottom brackets. So it does save a lot of time and effort. Like I say, slightly controversial. Some people are, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You can strip threads out. Oh, no, don't do that. Well, you know, if you know what you're doing and you've got the right tools and you're careful with them, I don't really see a risk personally. I do it all day, every day. And again, at the end of the day, if I break something in the shop, it's my problem. I need to replace it. So I'm not going to go streaming back to a customer saying, oh, the threads were stripped in your hub. If I broke it, I'll fit a new wheel. Simple as that. So, you know, there's nothing to worry about there. You will see it everywhere, and you'll also see controversy everywhere. So don't do that. Use hand tools, use torque wrenches, etc., etc., etc. I get both sides of the argument. So just let me know in the comments below any other ideas that you could use for power tools in the workshop. I'm all ears. Anything to save time and money and effort, really, to be fair. So thank you very much.